Welcome back. As you know, I'm Eli the Computer Guy here for the Daily Blob, where we say, China man gonna get you, China man gonna get you, China man gonna get you, China man gonna get you tonight, da-na, da-na-na. Oh, anyways, look, I'm by myself in my basement. I've got to entertain myself if there's nobody else here to entertain me. So anyways, one of the things I've been talking about for a while is with the U.S., with our policies, with things like the AI diffusion rule from the Biden administration. Basically, we are trying to crack down on China man getting access to our AI. Our AI is in their pocket, and they should be giving it back. Anyways, one of the things I've talked about for a while is that this is going to bite us in the ass. Right? It's just a bad policy, right? Don't be a racist, but if you are going to be a racist, at least be effective at it. Anyways, this is not effective. One of the things I've talked about is that China is pushing forward to sell their products and services to the rest of the world, and that with all the rules that we're putting on our AI products and services, I have a very real concern that China is going to get a leg up on us. They are going to install their AI systems into organizations, governments, and that type of thing. And at the moment that they get their AI systems installed, those systems become legacy, which means they will never be ripped out. They will never, ever be ripped out. They will be sitting there 100 years from now, and somebody will be like, what the hell is this server? And people will be like, we don't know, but don't turn it off, because that's how legacy operates. Anyway, so I think this is interesting, coming from OpenAI's Global Affairs. So DC people at OpenAI working out AGI for ourselves and others, right? They're working out general intelligence, not just for themselves, but so all of us understand what AI is really about. And basically they put out this blog post, Chinese progress at the front. Because this is a war, of course. This is a war, of course. Can't you tell? Can't you see all the young men waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and running 5 miles every day? Because we're at war. I would just like to remind the folks out there, I know it's cute. I still get this from people. Eli, we're already at war. It's like, no. If you actually think we're at war, can you run 2 miles? Oh, can you run 2 miles? Probably not. I've really thought about that lately, because I ran 15 miles on a Monday. Humble brag. Yes, it's a humble brag. Of course it is. Anyways, I'm working up for a marathon. So I've done like 6 half marathons at this point. I did a half marathon like a month ago, and I did another half marathon, and then I just ran 13 miles. And so I'm trying to get up. So I did like 15 miles on Monday. Hopefully this Monday coming up, I'll do 17 miles. And anyways, keep running until I get to a marathon. And I thought about this with this whole like war thing. What if the old guys actually had to fight the wars they got themselves into, or they got their countries into? Because think about this. For history, in memoriam or whatever, right? Old people are in worse shape than young people, right? You don't send the 50-year-olds or the 60-year-olds off to war, because obviously they're not going to be in as good a shape as the 18-year-olds. You send the 18-year-olds to war because they're in the prime of life. Anyways, but the curious thing to be thinking about, like with modern America, holy shit, how many 18-year-olds nowadays do you think could run 2 miles? Like there's kind of like that deep, dark dread I have in my soul, that even as fucking gimped as I am, right? Again, wrist injury from the army, elbow injury from martial arts, back injury from a car accident, neck injury from just getting beat in the head way too fucking often. Anyways, what happens if we go to war and my gimpy ass is doing a hell of a lot better than the 18-year-olds out there? Like, what? No, but I already did my time. No, but I'm almost 50. No, but I'm a gimpy ass motherfucker. Boy, all of those things may in fact be true. But it's also true you're in better shape than most 18-year-old boys nowadays. Like, oh, God. What if that happened? Can you imagine that? I just think about that. So when I was in AIT, and we were being given our national defense ribbon. So again, I was mid-90s soldier. I was mid-90s. Right. Anyways, we were not at war. Well, I didn't think we were at war. Anyways, I still remember that with, so we were in AI, really long AIT, one of the longest AIT programs they had. Anyway, so months and months and months into this AIT program, we were told that we're going to be getting this ribbon. And so when you finish basic training, you get a ribbon. And so we just all thought this was the AIT ribbon. That's what the fuck we thought. So my whole unit, you get out, we get into formation or whatever. You know, it's not the drill sergeant, whoever runs the whole battalion or whatever gets up there. And so we're like, wow, okay, this is really formal just to get an AIT ribbon for completing AIT. And then I remember, he was like, there's a black guy, and he'd always talk about reaching down our throat and ripping out our sphincter and beating us with it. Anyways, he gets up there, and he's got the mustache going on. On behalf of a grateful nation, I want to show my appreciation for all of you enlisting during a time of war. Oh my God. They don't show that shit in the movies. You almost saw an entire fucking company shit itself. We're like, what the fuck? Wait, what? What do you mean enlist during a time of war? What the fuck is he talking about? Oh, God. There are a bunch of 20-year-olds about to have a goddamn coronary on that parade ground. Anyways, apparently it came out. We enlisted, as far as any of us knew, after the first Gulf War. But weird thing how world works is that the Gulf War wasn't actually over when we enlisted. Like, as far as we knew, it was over. Like, it had been over for a while, as far as we knew. Oh, in fact, it was not over. In fact, it was still technically going on. And so we had enlisted during a time of war. Oh, my God. Oh, those are the memories that just bring a smile to my eyes. Seeing all these big back, yeah, we're soldiers. A bunch of soldiers about to shit themselves out there. Anyways, I kind of think about that like right now. Like, what if we went to war? Like right with Trump, right? Trump finally gets Congress to do their damn jobs. Maybe it'll happen. Anyways, what if like Trump actually was able to declare war? Congress was actually able to declare war. And then people like me go to the bar, go to the cafe, like, yeah, it's a pity what's going to happen to our young men and women. Yeah, it's a shame, you know, they had a bright future and all that, but you know, for society, you know, for our country, I mean, every generation has to make their sacrifice. Oh yeah, every generation has to make their sacrifice. You imagine some fucking Marine come in and into the bar, into the cafe. You, what's that? You're going to war. Well, what? Yeah, the 18-year-olds are kind of weak and lazy and fat. And we realized if you actually wanted somebody to take a hill, they need to be able to run. So, yeah, your 49-year-old ass, you're going to war. Oh, that would be hilarious. What if the old timers had to go fight in the wars that they declared? Anyways, these are the things that I find amusing. Anywho, that's just on its own little thing. This coming from OpenAI, talking about where China is going with their artificial intelligence initiatives. Chinese progress at the front. Now, you 49-year-old bastards are going to be going to. Can you just fucking imagine that? Oh, God, you want to think about some bitching and whining and moaning and crying? Can you imagine 50-year-olds being drafted off to basic training? What the fuck? Oh. Anywho. The Chinese Communist Party's goal of leading the world in AI by 2030 is a multi-front pursuit with an actual physical front line. While we hear the most about new models, just as significant is CCP headway in getting other governments around the world to adopt its AI. OpenAI's analysis report notable progress by one startup, Zhifu AI, that is offering governments what some Chinese media are calling, quote, China's answer to OpenAI for countries. So OpenAI has a product, OpenAI for countries. Basically, there's a whole bunch of different stuff out there for the government. So this AI company in China is basically offering the same type of thing. Right? Last week, Zhifu AI chairman Liu Debing said, quote, while promoting the development of domestic large-scale model technology, we also hope to contribute China's AI power to the world. Zhifu AI is one of China's AI tigers, a newer class of billion-dollar foundation model startups representing CCP hopes of building a self-reliant, globally competitive AI ecosystem that rivals America's and lessens dependence on American tech. And again, not simply AI ecosystem, right? When you look at NVIDIA, it's really interesting when you look at NVIDIA's products, everybody focuses on those damn GPUs, which, right? Anyways, $40,000 GPUs. But there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes along with that. The networking infrastructure, there's a whole tech stack that goes into NVIDIA's AI world, and basically they want to replicate and have their own version of that ecosystem of that stack, which, makes sense. Zhifu AI competes with DeepSeek, publicly rejecting collaboration on pre-training and independently developing rival models with competitive pricing, positioning China's Belt and Road Initiative as a springboard for a multi-pronged digital Silk Road strategy. Zhifu AI is offering infrastructure solutions to governments and state-owned firms across Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, the Middle East, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Africa, Kenya, including 1. Sovereign LLM infrastructure, 2. Turnkey private AI in a box hardware with Huawei, and 3. Governance know-how. So basically the idea here is they are not simply selling a product. One of the big problems you get into in the technology world, especially here in the United States, is everybody sells their own thing. Like one company sells the box, and another company sells the service for the box, and another company sells the shit that connects your box into something to actually make it useful. So one of the real problems with organizations is when they decide that they do want to invest in a certain technology stack, it can be a real pain in the ass to do that. And so what it looks like here is that basically with Zhifu, right, Zhifu AI, and with this initiative that they want to give you everything. When you go with their AI ecosystem, they are going to provide everything to get you up and running, which is, yeah, I mean, that's a hell of a value proposition. In practice, this means forming an alliance that co-builds national LLMs with ASEAN and other Belt and Road capitals, opening joint innovation centers, embedding safety labs such as the new Dubai Content Safety Lab, and underwriting projects with Gulf Capital. The Saudi Prosperity 7 Aramco Fund participated in a $400 million round, and Huawei Ascend hardware, albeit not at Stargate level scale. So Stargate is our fever dream where supposedly we're spending $500 billion to make Sam Altman even richer than he is. The goal is to lock Chinese systems and standards. So think about this. The goal is to lock Chinese systems and standards into emerging markets before U.S. or European rivals can, while showcasing a, quote, responsible, transparent, and audit-ready Chinese AI alternative. I tell you, that's why you cannot trust the Chinaman. Chinaman's like, oh, you're going to buy from us and we're going to provide everything to get you up and running. And then we're going to make it responsible and we're going to make it transparent and we're going to make it audit ready. Can you believe the gall of Chinaman to provide audit ready AI systems? Can you imagine what would happen in the United States if we could audit our AI systems? The horror! Anyways, that's the funny thing about reading this jingoistic crap half the time. So I read it and I'm like, that sounds good. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any leads into China, man? I was just saying. I mean, the product doesn't sound too bad. Anyways, Chinese AI alternative. Alternative. Our analysts list concrete Zifu AI initiatives with ASEAN, Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Kenya, and an unidentified Belt and Road country. Zifu AI maintains strong links with China's government and state-owned entities, as evidenced by over $1.4 billion in state-backed investment, numerous government procurement contracts, and active involvement in setting national AI technical standards. Zifu AI leadership frequently engages with CCP officials, including Premier Li Qiang. It was added to the U.S. Commerce Department's entity list in January on the basis that it is advancing the PRC's military modernization through the development and integration of advanced artificial intelligence research. Right? I would just remind you, Anthropic literally has its own systems for for dealing with national intelligence for the United States. OpenAI is getting a $200 million infusion from our Department of Defense. I'll just remind people of that. As we build out our work on OpenAI for countries, we'll keep using our vantage point to shed light on CCP progress with governments around the world. Call us cautious optimists. There's a whole thing here. But anyways, as cautious optimists, we're committed to sharing real information, not yelling fire in the proverbial theater, giving answers that aren't merely academic, and most importantly, offering solutions without looking to impose them upon others. We're cautious because we know AI will bring massive change over the next decade, some of which we can foresee and some we can't. Because we're fully aware of the power of this technology, hence our incessant red teaming and other safety security work, because while we believe most will use AI for good, we're not naive about some trying to misuse and abuse the technology. And because we know a world built on democratic AI isn't a guarantee given China's ambitions. Yes, wouldn't it be horrible if authoritarian states got control over artificial intelligence infrastructure? That would be horrible. I'm sorry, what does China have to do with this? I don't know. We're optimists because AI is going to grow the economy. Even moderate estimates for forecast productivity gains that will drive billions of dollars in GDP growth, because it's already unlocking new possibilities, especially when it comes to healthcare, science, and research. Because we have faith that most people will use AI and our tools to best help themselves, their families, and their businesses, and because we can see a world within the next few years where AI is built globally on democratic rails. And I will have you think about this for the whole AI diffusion rules, right? One of the reasons that Chinaman is not supposed to advance their culture and is not supposed to advance in AI is because they could use it for military purposes. Old white guy, half the world away, is concerned that China could use AI for military purposes. But think about what OpenAI is saying here. We're optimists because AI is going to grow the economy. Even moderate estimates forecast productivity gains that will drive billions of dollars in GDP. It's unlocking possibilities in healthcare, science, and research. I want you to understand that the senile, old, racist losers, all of them in the White House, right? All of them in Washington, D.C., want to prevent China from getting artificial intelligence systems, right? Because, and they say, national security military. But it's also, again, if you believe the hype, it will also prevent China from progressing in these particular areas. So it's like, it's kind of an interesting thing. Like, we're gonna say that we don't want China to get these resources because of national security. But if it also kneecaps the entire economy for a 1.4 million person country, oh well. And so that is what is currently going on from OpenAI's government initiative program. They want you to know how dangerous the Chinaman AI is. This crap is working out about how a jackass in the basement would think this crap is going to work out, right? The harder we make it for China to get AI, and not only are we punishing China, but we're punishing all these other countries, all these other entities too, it is going to become easier and easier to purchase Chinese AI versus US AI. That is going to go into right, these developing countries' systems, and then as soon as it goes into their infrastructure, it is legacy. And it will never go away. I have a buddy of mine who does COBOL programming, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious to see him go to like meetups with like JavaScript developers. Really smart guy. Really, he knows a lot of stuff. But bread and butter. Well, it's COBOL and RGB. He always gets mad when I just say COBOL. RGB, I don't fucking know. There's something called RGB. I think it's called RGB. I don't know. I don't even know what the hell that looks like. Anyways, the funny thing is, I have literally seen like snot-nosed JavaScript developers try to browbeat him with this whole idea of the sunk cost fallacy, right? So he goes and he does his work and he's highly in demand. Highly in demand. Anyways, and you have this JavaScript developer and it's like, well, why are these companies still using COBOL? And I was like, I don't know. They pay me. Anyway, and then I've seen them be like, oh yeah, well that's just sunk cost fallacy, right? They should go off to whatever system, right? They don't know what his clients need. They don't understand the client's systems and regulatory compliance or anything like that. They just start going on this whole thing about how they need to get off of COBOL and mainframe systems, or not mainframe, I systems or whatever, and go off to some JavaScript stack. Because since they know JavaScript, they believe everything should be on the JavaScript stack. Anyways, and the funny part is, my buddy will just shrug his shoulders, like, I don't know. Is it sunk cost fallacy? Is there a practical reason? But they pay, and they keep paying, and they're gonna keep paying, and more crap is getting built. So yeah, however intelligent it is for them to maintain these systems that use COBOL, they're probably going to keep doing it for his entire career. He's solid until he's 60, and he's a young guy. Anyways, and so that's one of the things to be thinking about, with all of these systems, is why do you use a particular system? See, because somebody purchased it years ago. I think about this with Ruby on Rails. There's been a resurgence of need for Ruby on Rails developers. And I knew somebody who was a Ruby on Rails developer, and I was like, what the hell is going on? So Ruby on Rails was real cool about 2015. Ruby on Rails, they were the Node developers before Node developers are Node developers. Anyways, I know Ruby on Rails. Anyway, it was the big thing. I don't know, somewhere between 2013 to 2017, right? They're all strutting around knowing they're Ruby. Anyways, and then Node came along. Node become the cool thing, so everybody went off to become Node developers. And I hadn't really thought about Ruby on Rails at all, realistically. It just was like one of those languages that came in, everybody used it, then they went off to Node. Anyways, there was a big push for Ruby developers a couple years ago, and I was talking to somebody I knew that was a Ruby developer, and it's like, what the fuck's going on? I was like, maybe there's a new version of Ruby on Rails, like there's some, right? And basically what he said, he was like, well, no, the issue is you have all of this Ruby on Rails code base that was created like 10 years ago. And the issue is they stopped building on it, right? They went over to Node, they went over to other things to continue the code base. But this massive code base still exists, and they started having fewer and fewer Ruby developers on staff and more Node developers. And the problem is you now have just an issue of just basic maintenance for these systems, updates and upgrades, and just changes within that code base. And so actually now there's a big drive for Ruby developers simply to maintain, wait for it, this legacy code base that's just kind of sitting there. Nobody wants to pay to rewrite this crap. At the exact same time, there's fewer and fewer people that are actually there to maintain it. Maybe Ruby will be the next COBOL. Who knows? Probably not. But anyways, the important thing to understand there in the technology world is that like with China, being able to push, right? Being able to push Huawei systems, being able to push their architecture into these companies and things. The issue is going to be is once that gets a foothold, man, it is going to be like kudzu trying to rip it the hell out. Even if they agree, right? Even if 10 years from now, the Vietnamese or the Indonesian government agrees, oh, we were so wrong to trust the Chinaman. We should have known white man is our real savior. Anyways, let's say a decade from now, they realize their mistake. Even if they do realize their mistake, can you imagine you build up all that AI infrastructure over a decade? And then so much of the AI infrastructure now is so integral to systems. You were talking about decision-making systems, or talking about parsing systems, or talking about language processing, that trying to rip that out, even if they decide they want to rip it out, might be a right bastard of a time I would not want to have anything to deal with. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting to see where we're going. And don't worry. OpenAI is there for the citizens of America. Unless Trump gives them a better contract. And then they're there for whatever the hell Trump wants. Anyways. It's the world we live in. I'm not saying it's a good timeline. I'm saying it's the timeline we've got. Anywho, what do you think about this? What do you think about China pushing a AI or a digital Silk Road strategy? What do you think about those wascally Chinese people coming in and providing the full solution to be able to deploy AI services to, again, these countries many times that get overlooked by the United States? What do you think about this whole thing, and what's going on with AI and American policy? And is this crap working out for us? Put your thoughts down below. Remember, whether it's a thumb up, a thumb down, a good comment, or a nasty comment, at the end of the day, we're in the modern world of social media, and an interaction is what's valuable. So do whatever you want to do down there. And with that, see y'all later.